morning and welcome to Grey County Life. It's Family Day. I'm here with Krista McKee. We're out at Jones Falls and we're going to talk a little bit about all the different things you can do to get outside, enjoy Family Day, enjoy other days with your family, get some fresh air and exercise. So Krista, how are you?
I'm well, and you, Linda?
I'm great. So Jones Falls, tell me about Jones Falls.
Well, Jones Falls is a great place to visit. For instance, the parking lot here is kept up by the Owen Sound Transportation Company. There's lots of trails here. In every junction, there's one of these signs that are here just to our right here that tell you where you are. We've just did a whole whack of new signs. So it's a great spot. You can start here, or a lot of people like to start over by the drive-in road on County Road 17.
Okay, so where we are right now is, of course, we're out at Spring Mount, just off the parking lot of Owen Sound Transportation.
Yes.
So you can park there. If we were to come in the other side, the drive-in road, where do we come in there?
Well, it's just over by Wickland Hall, or where Grace is, the drive-in theater. And there's also a third area that you can access, which is off of Young's Drive, which is just through Nichols Gully.
Right.
You can park at the very end of Young's Drive and catch the blue loop that was just established by the Bruce Trail. And that's all part of the Potawatomi Jones Falls Conservation Area. It's just under 300 acres in size.
Well, and it's beautiful. You know, the river is babbling away behind us here. It's really running nicely. Nothing is frozen today because it's been mild. I was saying, because we've got our snowshoes with us, but we don't really need to snowshoe today because there have been enough people going through this trail that you could walk with no problem at all.
You could. It's a really well-traveled trail. It's kind of a hidden secret, really. You know, a lot of people think about going to Ingalls Falls, but Jones is a great spot to come.
And it's so beautiful. Most people just notice it from the highway as they're coming out the highway, and you look over to, your side and you see Jones Falls. Well, I want to talk a little bit about the history of Jones Falls because there's a lot of things we don't know about it. So tell me about Jones Falls.
Well, I actually learned a little bit about Jones myself a couple years ago, that Samuel Jones was the gentleman who built the dams and the mill and started the sawmill here. But what I found really interesting is that after he got the mill running in 1855, he built a tavern and called it Jones Tavern at Spring Mount.
Okay.
And I guess it was a real rockin' spot at night. And then I never really thought much about it. But
about what year would that be?
Just the early 1900s.
Okay.
About the early 1900s.
Prohibition.
Yeah.
And just outside the city limits.
Because Owen Sound, I guess, was dry.
Yes.
And so everyone came to Jones Tavern, and it was kind of a hot spot. He then sold the mill, sold the tavern, and there was a few owners, and
I would think too, with the mill here, there would be a lot of farmers that would be bringing their products to the mill that might stay at the tavern for a little refreshment.
They might,
as the day is going on.
Yes, I don't know how well that would work. And I guess you could drive a horse and be under the influence back then.
Yeah, because most horses knew their way there. They still do. Can find their way home.
They can find their way home. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So where was the mill here?
That is the mystery.
Okay.
It would have been somewhere between where we're standing and the falls. There had to be an area that could be backed up so that there'd be a constant supply of water, because as we're aware, Potawatomi kind of dwindles down to a trickle in the summertime.
Exactly.
So there would have to be a really substantial dam to keep a constant supply of water.
Yeah. That's really interesting. I had no idea there was all this history attached to Jones Falls.
Yeah.
And it's spectacular to see it when it's really running.
Oh, yeah, a beautiful show. Yeah, a lovely cascade over the escarpment.
And you were telling me about the barn, because I'm sure a lot of our viewers out there will know this particular barn when you're talking about it, when you're driving from Spring Mount into Owen Sound.
Yes.
It used to be on the south side of the highway.
That's right.
So tell me the history of the barn.
Well, that was the tavern.
Okay.
So apparently it was located somewhere in Spring Mount, and through highway construction and road widening and all that wonderful stuff, they moved the tavern And they set it on the foundation, and people would drive by it and think it was a barn, but it had a red stain on it, just on the south side of the road, almost right across from where the falls is. And it sat on a very large, high,
up on the
8-foot foundation, up kind of just a little bit west of the hill.
Yes.
But yeah, and you could see it had the year 1890 something carved just above the door. That was the tavern, and that was the tavern that Mrs. Brown was found deceased in as well.
Oh yes, Mrs. Brown. Now,
Mrs. Brown.
Tell us, Mrs. Brown, there's always some kind of story, you know, a little bit of a spicy story behind all of these.
There was a kind of a scathing, spicy story, and they weren't really sure, Mrs. Brown, they weren't sure what her actual occupation was, but lots of rumors,
Yes.
She was a lovely host. We'll leave it at that.
Yes, okay.
Yes,
You can use your imagination.
Host, yes.
She was a lovely host at the tavern.
On the tavern. But that again was just all rumor and
Right.
things that I've read. But they found she had died, and they didn't know whether she had been murdered or not. So that was quite a rumor that had went around for a long period of time. But I guess she died of a heart attack.
Okay.
Is what the final outcome of that was. But
And it's funny when you think back to those years, how fast a rumor could spread, because there wasn't the social media that there is today.
Yeah.
But boy, rumors still really going
Oh,
around,
yes.
especially among a crowd that would use that same tavern. Maybe some of our local historians out there know a little bit more about the history of Jones Falls, and they could give you a call and fill you in. And
oh yes,
then
definitely
we'd have it all,
We'll
because that
have
would
it all.
be great.
Yes.
Yeah, it's beautiful. We're going to continue talking about Jones Falls and some of the things that folks can get out and do, whether it's snowshoeing or a sleigh ride or anything, to enjoy Family Day and our lovely seasonal weather that we're getting. We'll be right back on Grey County Life. So Krista, we're at Jones Falls, of course, Conservation Authority, Grey Sauble Conservation Authority property here. There's one of your great signs right behind us that tell us when it's open, when it's closed, what folks can do here, and you have so many of these trails. I want to ask you first, how do people find out, get information on the different trails they can use, and whether it's through walking or snowshoeing or combined use, what you can do with it?
Well, hopefully you have access to a computer. That's the easiest way to find out different properties you can visit. Our website is greysauble.on.ca. And if you go into, there's a tab on our website called Conservation Areas. You can actually open up a map, and it shows all of the 70 some odd areas that we own within Grey and Bruce County. So there's lots of places that you can explore. One that would be close to where you were raised, Ainsley Wood.
Oh yes,
even.
Ainsley Wood. Yes.
Ainsley Wood is another well-kept secret, that beautiful hardwood forest, upland hardwood forest. As you drive through that meandering trail in.
Now you and I were out there in the summer.
Yeah.
We were,
yeah.
but it must look totally different
in the winter. Yeah, exactly. And you've got the babbling brook that runs down along the side as you're entering in there, and it's a lovely shoreline property in the summer, but in the wintertime you could, the gate is locked, but parking off on the side of the road, you could snowshoe in through there.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, when you access this list off your website, does it tell you where there are parking areas, the ones that do have parking areas, or do you just?
For winter use, we have a little man, a little icon that is on the website that tells you that you could go snowshoeing there.
Okay.
If you don't see that little icon, then chances are the gate's closed. There's no snow removal there. Washrooms will be locked up, and that's most of our properties in the wintertime. What's nice about Jones Falls and Ingalls Falls is that there is a parking lot. Here you have access to washrooms as well because of the Owen Sound Transportation Company that's here. So there are facilities, which is nice.
Yes, it is. And sometimes you need to just warm up a little bit or get your really heavier clothes off. And really not so heavy because I'm dressed, it looks like I have a lot on, but really I don't because I'm in layers. So that you can start taking things off, because on a day like today, whoo,
Oh dear.
as you get going, you warm up rapidly.
Exactly. And when you start moving and getting all sorts of exercise and movement going, you do start to heat up rather quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've got folks coming along to use the trail here, dog walkers, all kinds of folks are out here enjoying this lovely day. So when you're out and about, of course, you want to respect the rules of the Conservation Authority. And I know there are times when you post certain sites off limits, and that's for safety.
Yes, yes. And right now, and I'm glad you brought that up, because Ingalls Falls is posted. Our staircase that takes you down along the wall that's along the edge of the escarpment has been closed. And once you get there and see that, I would hope that people would respect that, because there are no steps right now. It's just sheer ice straight down to the bottom of it.
You might end up in Harrison Park.
You might,
sitting on your butt. You'd be right through there.
You would.
Exactly.
So yeah, a lot of it you use common sense, because it is very dangerous, but there's still a viewing platform there. Here at Jones Falls, the same thing. You stay on the trail system, you stay safe. There's an area where you can see Jones Falls from on the south side here. We don't recommend that you go snowshoeing there. We ask that you take your snowshoes off before you cross the bridge to go over and see the falls, just for safety reasons. But again, please use your common sense and stay back from the edges, because you don't know whether there could be a snowdrift there.
Right.
Right?
Well, yes, it's the same with the crevices when you're in somewhere like the West Rocks or somewhere.
Yes.
You don't know what's underneath that drift. And
exactly.
You might not want to find out.
No, I know.
Yeah.
No. So stay on the trail system. Jones here has some beautiful areas where you can look out over the west side of Owen Sound. Again, it's another little well-kept secret, but there's some great views of the city from Jones Falls here.
Well, I'm going to gather up some friends and we're going to come out here snowshoeing, because I was saying when we first got here, really, I drive by it all the time and I say, I have to get out to Jones Falls. I've been, Indian Falls, Ingalls Falls, different ones, and I haven't been here for years.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's changed a little bit since the last time I was here.
A little bit, but you know what? It's got about 7 kilometers of trails here, and they're easy. If you bring out your friends, what I would do is, if just for baby steps in snowshoeing or hiking, park one car over on the drive-in theater road, and then everyone hop in another vehicle and park here. So then when you get to your destination, you can all pile in one car and come back, instead of having to, you don't know whether you're halfway there, all the way there. It's a starting point.
Yeah.
So then you know what your abilities are too.
Right.
Yeah.
A good way to start off, and there's lots of spots around, Elsie's Diner's up the road, the Esso across the road, where you can go get a hot chocolate and warm up afterwards and talk about all your adventures.
Yeah. See, we've got the morning planned.
We've got your whole morning planned.
Yeah.
And, as you said, for every level of snowshoer or hiker, to get out here and do this.
Yeah.
And snowshoes, we've talked about snowshoes before, but you've got yours, I brought mine. They're a little bit different. Yours are, I think, are shorter than mine.
But again,
but other than that, very similar.
They are very similar. Yours have a little different tie-up at the back, but the top is the same. It still has the 3 grippers, which is really important.
Yes.
Especially this time of year when it starts getting a little mild and ice build up.
Yes.
It's nice to have a decent set of grippers. I know.
I seriously, during the last ice storm, wanted to just get these to go to the mailbox and back.
Yes,
going up and down the driveway.
Yeah, and you want them to be steel. I know there are cheaper versions of snowshoes that have the plastic ones, and they're just not the greatest.
Yeah.
So to have the steel spikes on the bottom is great, and you want to make sure that it's geared to your weight. Is the other thing. So
if you go to a place like
Sun Trail Outfitters.
Thank you.
Yes.
At Hepworth, you can rent snowshoes.
Yes,
and
you
they
can.
will fit you. So if you want to try it out, because really it's not an expensive hobby or
No.
way to get out and get exercise, because once you've got your snowshoes, that's all you need.
You're
you
ready
can
to
wear your
go.
regular boots, you just put on a pair of snow pants, or I have wind pants on, you know, a couple layers on top.
Yep, pack a thermos, have a backpack.
I've got my earmuffs in my pocket.
Yeah.
I've got my gloves, and you know, you might want a couple different pair of those depending
That's a
how
really
cold
good
it
idea.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. You can stop, have a bite, especially if you're on some of our Conservation Authority properties, visiting our areas. Some of them have benches, some picnic tables are still out there. So
Yeah,
you
so
can
just
stop
throw your
and-
backpack on with some snacks and
Yeah.
something to drink water or something to keep you hydrated while you're out there. Your cell phone in
Yeah.
case something happens or you get lost.
Yes.
Yes, I can
Very
remember being
good.
lost in the West Rocks, and those were in the days of before cell phones. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I knew my mother would come looking for us because she had my nieces. So thinking, well, if we're not back by dark, she'll be sending the rescue parties out. Thanks,
Exactly.
Krista, for
Oh, thank
joining
you.
us. We'll be back with more on Grey County Life.